Everything is vibration. You put out a good vibration. The only thing that responds to a good vibration is a good vibration. Bad vibrations are on a different frequency. They don't mix each other. You put out a vibration, you're going to get back what that vibration is. It's called resonance. If you're an unhappy person and you're broadcasting that, the only person that will be affected by that unhappiness is somebody else is unhappy because they're resonating from the same thing. All of a sudden I realized as I started to change, it's like, be happy. Just be happy. Yeah. And it's like people want to be happy. I work in belief change programs with people. We have people test for the belief, I love myself. 80 to 90% of every audience will not test positive to I love myself. Where the hell did this come from? Well, the first thing is this, being criticized as a child because you downloaded the criticism, not good enough, not smart enough, not lovable, whatever the parents were trying to help you get better, they made it worse because they put those programs in. If you can't love yourself, then you can't accept love. Someone says they love you and you have a mind, I'm not lovable, then you look at them and go, well, obviously you have no quality control. I know I'm not lovable. What are you saying? And you'll push people away and then nobody will be there. And then guess what? You say, see, I'm not lovable. Nobody's here. But you didn't realize you were responding to that. 95% of our behavior is coming from below consciousness. And we're the ones that can't see it when we play it, but everybody else, of course, is seeing exactly what we're doing. So the whole idea is, are you living the life you want, or are you living the life you've been programmed? And the answer, unfortunately, is most of us are living the life we've been programmed, and the programming comes from other people, so it's not our lives. Those things that we want and we work hard and we sweat over and put a lot of effort. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make this happen. I'm working on it. I'm working real hard. Why are you working so hard? And the answer is not because the universe won't give it to you, is because unconsciously your program does not support that destination and you're trying to override it with extra work and effort. So then life becomes a job, more or less, trying to get those things you want when your program unconsciously is sabotaging you. What I have to say is this, knowledge is power, and lack of knowledge is a lack of power. When people don't know that they're involved with their own life and their own genetics and their own behavior because they're programmed to be the victim, then they become a victim because they have no knowledge of this. Let's wake up. You are powerful if you understand how this works. And if you don't understand how it works, you just say, no, it's not me. I'm not in control. And people walk away feeling like there's nothing I can do. The genes are controlling this and I don't control the genes. Well, that's the story that's wrong. And when people are allowed to walk away from a medical practitioner with that belief, then that practitioner in no way has helped that patient, because the idea is this, as you said, I've got to help them get a better attitude when they walk out of this building. I have to give them more power so that they have more power, because if they walk out saying there's nothing I can do, then the game is over. Every night when you go to bed, your brain is operating in theta. Well, theta is hypnosis. So I said, what can you do? And this is the old story. You've heard people do it. You put a pair of earphones on at night. You play a program that you want to be true in your life. The moment you fall asleep, the conscious mind shut off, but the subconscious mind is now in record theta. So whatever is coming through the earphones at that moment after you fall asleep, you don't hear it, but the subconscious mind is hearing it and downloading it in a state of theta. The first way of changing a belief system is to get into theta. And this is called self-hypnosis. Put the earphones on, play the program. Subconscious mind learns in two fundamental ways naturally. Hypnosis, repetition, practice. You want to drive a car, you didn't learn how by just getting in the seat and put the key in. You had to practice driving the car. You want to learn the alphabet. How many times did you go from A to Z? Try to go to A to Z before you can complete it. And once you completed it, you didn't have to go back and do it again. So two phases. You want to train the subconscious mind. Hypnosis, repetition. Repetition is a habit. It's making habit. So you got to do something religiously in a sense of repeating it to make it work. If you believe genes control your life, you're a victim of your heredity. When I say genetic control, that's the belief that genes control our characters. When I say epigenetic control, almost sounds the same, but epi means above. So when I say epigenetic control, literally it's control above the genes. And this is what we now recognize, that the environment, and very specifically our perception of the environment, changes our genetic activity. So that means, well, wait, that's not a victim, because I can change my environment, I can change my perception, and all of a sudden, if I can do that, then I can control my genes. We're going from victim to mastery. cancer is a minimum of 12 to 14 genes, so it's not an accident. You can't change one gene and get cancer. You have to change 12 to 14 genes, and all of a sudden, then probability, is it chance? It's like, no, we are creating a cancer, and we can uncreate a cancer. People have spontaneous remissions, but they change it not by changing their biology, but by changing their mind. I put one stem cell in a petri dish by itself, and it divides every 10 or 12 hours. So first there's 1, then there's 2, 4, 8, 16, doubling. 1 week, 30,000 cells in the petri dish, but they're all genetically identical because they came from one parent. So I have 30,000 genetically identical cells. I split the cells into 3 petri dishes, so I have genetically identical cells in 3 dishes. But I changed the composition of the culture medium, a little chemistry change in each of the dishes. So I have genetically identical cells, but slightly different culture media. And in one set of dishes, the cells form muscle. In a second set, they form bone. In a third set, the cells form fat cells. You say, well, what controlled the fate? They were all genetically identical. So it wasn't the genes. They all had the exact same genes. The only thing that was different was the environment. Well, I could live in a perfectly healthy, happy environment that will support me. But if I perceive it's a negative environment, then my cells inside my body do not know that it is a healthy environment. They only see the perception that I send to them. And this is why perception becomes so important, is because the cells are not directly touching the environment and depend on the nervous system's interpretation to adjust their biology. So if I change my perception, my mind, change my belief about life, I change the signals that are going in and adjusting the function of the cell. I'm not a victim of my heredity. I'm a master of my genetic activity. Stress is a chemical. Here's a simple fact. Stress causes at least up to 90% of doctor visits. How can stress do this? And the answer is very simple. Stress hormones, cortisol. So what does cortisol do? Number one, it causes the blood in the viscera, the guts, where maintenance of the body and healing comes from all the organs. It causes the blood vessels to shut down because it pushes the blood to the arms and legs. Why? Stress means you're ready to run, fight or flight. So you push the energy to where you need it, arms and legs. Well, where do you get it from? Well, you squeeze the blood vessels in the gut. Well, this is growth. The viscera is growth. That's what the organs are for. Arms and legs are for protection. What's the point? If I'm in protection, I shut off growth. And more importantly, stress hormones shut off the immune system. If you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger and you have a bacterial infection, how do you want to split the energy? How much energy you want to run away and how much you want to fight the with the immune system? The answer is, the hell with the bacterium. I mean, if the tiger catches you, the bacteria is meaningless, So stress hormones physically shut off the immune system. That's number one. So you compromise health just by having stress hormones because you're shutting it off the maintenance. But number two, the immune system uses a lot of energy. That's why when people are sick, sometimes they can't even get out of bed. So if I'm being chased by a saber-toothed tiger and I got a bacterial infection, how do I want to split the energy? And I go, hell with a bacterial infection. The saber-toothed tiger catches you. Bacteria is not your problem anymore. Stress hormones by function shut down the immune system. And it's so effective that when doctors want to transplant a foreign organ into a recipient and they don't want the recipient's immune system to reject the foreign organ, before they do the transfer, they give the recipient stress hormones to shut off the immune system so it doesn't reject the foreign organ. I say the stress hormones are so effective at shutting it off. They use it therapeutically to shut it off. And I go, why is it relevant? Because our entire world is in such stress all the time that they're dripping stress hormone.
Please engage with this video by subscribing, liking, and sharing. If you need more videos like this, check out our channel or watch the next video.